Well, hello and welcome back. We are continuing our little Spring Boot tutorial journey as we're converting an application over from an older Apache Tomcat JSP and sort of upgrading it a little bit so we can make it a little bit more, make it modern and use some of the modern libraries that are out there. Last episode, we looked at securing our site, adding a login. This episode, we're going to talk about unsecuring it a little bit, and we're going to talk about customizing our login screen. And we're going to start with the login screen first. That is basically, originally we just had like a nice little login and password, but what we're going to do is we're going to flip it so that it's going to look like this. We're going to have sort of a modified home page, which is normally what you're going to see. I'll add a logout button just because. So we're going to have, this will be now our login, is we'll have an email and password. We've got these labeled. We're actually going to change these around a little bit later, but this gives us just a simple login form so that we can then get into our application. Now, what we want to do is actually not terribly complex. We're going to come into, we're going to add a new bean. This piece we actually don't need right now. We're going to cover that at a later point. But we're going to do we're going to come in, we're going to create in our web security config. We're going to have our, which we know it's security because it's going to be there and there. Those two annotations get us what we need. And so now we're in our web security config. We're going to have the security filter chain. This is something you'll see fairly regularly if you're using code to configure. Now, sort of a caveat, if you haven't used Spring, there is also an XML option that you can go in there and do all your configurations. We're doing the code base just because I like to do the code base. But the XML is also out there, and it's, we'll say, compatible, and it's going to look somewhat familiar. So if if you get comfortable with one, you're going to be fairly comfortable with the other. The exception being, the XML is a little more, I guess, forgiving. It is and it is not more forgiving. A typo can mess you up. However, you don't have to worry about some of the other, includes and some of those kinds of things that you'll see. Now, the key for customizing our login is super simple. Is that we're going to come into our security filter chain. We're going to do, up here, there's an HTTP, which is our security thing that's sent in. And we're just going to do .form login, and we're going to redirect a couple of things. We're basically, in this case, going to tell it what to do. So instead of taking the default form and the default login processes, what we're going to do is now our login page is going to be our /login. So we're going to use that to log in, and then we're going to see we had that over here. We've got a login.html that we're going to create, which I showed you over here. This is actually login.html. And the first thing, one of the things you've got to do is, because we've secured it, we do need to do a permit all on that page to make sure that it's not secured. Otherwise, what will end up happening, essentially, if you run into this while you're setting this up, you're going to end up in something that's an infinite loop, because it's going to have a login that needs a login that goes to the login that needs a login, and just you're going to end up getting a broken page. I think it's going to give you like some sort of server fault or something like that. But effectively what happens, and you can, a lot of times you'll see this in the, if you look at the error console, you'll see that it just got in an infinite loop. And it's because it was trying to go to this page to log in, even though this page requires login to get there, and so you get in that infinite loop. So when you do permit all, that says, hey, everybody gets to see this. You don't have to secure it. And there are other things we can do if you're an admin versus a user and such. But for now, we're just going to worry about being able to permit any user to come in here. Our login processing URL is, we're going to make that /login as well, because now we're going to run, which typically you would expect is going to be, we're going to run through the /login. Our success URL, this is basically what happens when we log in. Where, if somebody does successfully log in, what happens? Where do they go? So we're going to go to a /dashboard. And the failure URL is just going to be error true on /login. So it's going to kick us back to the login with an error. and then log out. We're going to add that in there and just say, hey, we don't have anything particularly awesome with our log out, but we're just going to do a permit all because we also don't want people to get stuck in a loop where they're going to the log out, but it requires them to log in. And then, it's not as likely a loop, but what it means is that they would never be able to effectively log out. It would just jump right back into the login, which I guess is not horrible. Depends on how you have it set up. Oh, let me look at, I do want to go back to, so our little hello control, which is sort of our base controller we've got left over. A few mappings that we have is we've got just the slash is going to go home. So right now we can go to a home page, which we will talk about at another point. Right now, mine is insecure, and we will talk about when we talk about securing stuff. We may get to that in this episode. Probably not. Probably catch that in the next episode. We'll do one just on unsecuring pages. If everything's secure, then if I even try to go to slash, it's going to take me right to my login page. So I can do that. If I, let me look at these and I'll show you that real quick. So dashboard, I just added that. I don't think I had that before. I just have a slash dashboard that goes to the user dashboard screen, which we're going to see is not terribly pretty because I just pulled this over from some old stuff. It's just really to give me a page. So it's really ugly, but it's just to get us somewhere to go so that we know, that we've actually logged in. Because if we don't have that, if we just go to, back to the login page or something, then we may not see what we want to see. Let's see, and then login. I went ahead and I had created that. I don't think that was there before. So this is where I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to go to my custom login page. And I could call this whatever the heck I wanted to call it. It's just going to be like anything else. I can also do some pre-processing and stuff like that as well. So I have my link set up and I have my security configured. Let's do this first. Well, I don't need that, but if I do just this piece, let's do this first. I'm going to do that, and I am going to get rid of the log out and show you what happens in that case. Did I get it all? There's something it doesn't like. What doesn't? Oh, those aren't being used. I think that's good. Let's see if I got my copy and paste right. Let's see how this worked. Okay. So if we take this, now what we're going to see, oh, okay, it didn't like that. I think. Permit all. Did I miss one somewhere? I think I missed one somewhere. Unsatisfied dependency. Failed to instantiate security filter chain. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back and look at what I had. Oh, shoot. That's what it is. Let's do this. So let's take. Okay. Let's save it. Sorry. What I do is I want to get rid of this. And then I want to get rid of this, but not all the way, just to there. Whoop. Or to there. Make sure I got that. So that's that. Let's see, did I get it that time? I think I did. Okay, let's try that. So now if we reload everything, oh, I did not get it right. Something's messed up in my, let's see. That's that. Let's try that. Let's see if that's what I'm missing. It may be that I'm missing that log out. Nope. What did I miss? Oh, I'm sorry. That's what I missed. I want to take this and this. That's that one. I think that gives me what I need. And this is basically going to say, hey, go authenticate the request, which it does. So it's basically saying, hey, I forgot about this. So any request, I'm going to get authenticated. Now, if I try to log in here, if I go to my home page, then it's going to kick me over to my login, which you can see here is /login. And so if I log in, then it's going to take me to my dashboard. If I log out, which I can't right now because I don't have a log out on this, I think if I just do log out, then it's going to give me issues because it doesn't like that log out. So what I want to do is come back here and let's turn on my log out. I think that's all I need for this one. We're going to find out in a second. Okay, so if I come here and I go there, okay, there's my log out. Let's see what this does. Oops. If I do that, is it just /logout? I think it is. No, it still doesn't like that. But if I go to home, let's do, does this one have? This one has a log out. So I can go there. And now I can log out. Okay, so there we go. And a log out takes me right back to the login form. So what I've got now, and I can change that as well. I could make my logout page something custom if I wanted to go to a hey, you have completely logged out. Now, there are some issues with securing everything. And that's something we're going to talk about in the next episode, because if I secure, let me do this. What you noticed probably is that this is an ugly page. This does not look like we want it to. It's missing stuff. And if you look at down here, you're going to see that there are some errors of stuff it's trying to load in because it's having issues because they're secured. And so it's like, hey, I can't see that. I don't have access to it. And here it's trying to get us to the login page because everything's going to basically whatever secure is going to send us to a login page. So right now, for example, if I go to just my /, it's going to direct me to login. It says everybody needs to be logged in. And so what we're going to deal with next time around is we're going to play around with some stuff so that we can clean these things up and gives ourselves a page that looks like this one and allow us what we normally are going to have, which is we want to have a home page that has some sort of like this that looks halfway decent and then allows people to log in. And so same thing, if I log in, now it jumps to this page. And of course, like I said, this one isn't pretty, but if I go to this page, then we see something where we've actually turned some of this stuff on so we can do things. And I can log out and it takes me back to my home page. Actually, this one takes me to the login page /logout. So I could take it back to just raw home, but I'm doing this for now. So that'll do it for this one. It's pretty simple to customize. We're basically just adding, the key here is our login processing URL, and our default success URL gives us where do we go when we log in. So again, we're just doing all this in a couple of lines of code. Yeah, we've created our /login and stuff like that. So we have some URLs that we can put together. We've got some some mappers that we can do, but the actual login process, again, very straightforward. That's the nice thing about Spring is there's a lot of this stuff that's built in and makes it easy for us to do common application stuff. Come back next time. We're going to talk about unsecuring some stuff so we can pretty these things up. That being said, go out there and have yourself a great day, a great week. We'll catch you next time around.
Hello, this is Rob with Developreneur, also known as Building Better Developers. Wanted to announce that we have school.developreneur.com. Feel free to check it out if you like any of this information, any of the content that we've sent, and you would like to see more. You can come out, you can enroll for free. We have free courses. We've got places for you to get better at just learning a technology, our how-tos. You can work on your business skills. We can help you with becoming a better developer, as in coding and things like that. A lot of the stuff you've seen on YouTube, we also have out at school.developreneur. We just have it in a little more of a educational format and a way for you to track your progress as you move forward becoming a better developer.